Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's video. Go to have a look at the weather. The dead 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 28th of June, and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with CFS and ECM ensembles. They run throughout a couple of weeks. We'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks. Gets us to the middle of July. I should get off that for you in a moment. Just say that first. Video release was our 6am UK weather forecast. We've also released the extended EC European outlook as well, and there's the latest Glastonbury update number 4, I think, for Glastonbury Festival coming up for you this evening around 7 PM. Please like, share, and subscribe on all today's videos and content. And thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. For GavsWeatherVids, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you're having a lovely, lovely Tuesday. Okay, well, we're going to start off with something a bit different. We haven't looked at this since around November last year, I don't think, but this is from the National Hurricane Centre. It is showing disturbance areas in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic, and will eventually show tropical storms and or hurricanes. Now, the main part of hurricane season, or the main hurricane season, is from the 1st of July to the 30th of November. So we're not even in the main part of the Atlantic hurricane season yet. However, we are already seeing disturbance areas telling us that, again, this is likely to be quite an active tropical storm and or hurricane season. So we've got 2 disturbance areas, a yellow X just here and a red X here in the Gulf of Mexico. Dealing with the yellow X first of all, that is disturbance 1, and it has a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days and a 20% chance in the next 7 days. Don't think we have to worry too much about that, but this one looks more significant. This is potential tropical cyclone 1. And it's giving maximum sustained winds of 40 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure of 999 millibars. It's nearly stationary. If we click on 1 and go here, we can see this is actually forecast to become a tropical storm and move into Mexico. This is very, very, very early days to be seeing these kind of developments. So a tropical storm is likely to move onto the coast of Mexico through the middle part of this week and then become a tropical depression as it moves inland. So it will give copious amounts of rain, of course, as you would expect. Tropical storm, very strong winds as well. Doesn't look like it's going to reach a hurricane, but I think the main issue with this is that it is so early in the season to already be seeing this kind of development, and I think it is kind of a hint, kind of a heads up that we're in a bit of trouble this season in the tropical and subtropical Atlantic. It's going to be a big season, I think, with the sea surface temperature anomalies in that area so warm. We've predicted our first hyperactive season since 2020 with the GavsWeatherVids hurricane season forecast that we released on the 1st of May. And this is further evidence of that, I think. So we should be keeping a very close eye, of course, on developments in the Atlantic, with these tropical storms and hurricanes over the next few days, weeks and months. Right, well, let's move on to the CT. So, still no update from Hadley. As soon as we get an update from Hadley, we will bring that to you. We'll go on to the upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles then. Now, the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Liverpool. We're starting off around to slightly below average with the upper air temperatures at the moment. The upper air temperatures will then start to tick up a little bit later this week, but it's really over weekend into next week, but we find a bit of a warm-up taking place through the last week of June. We've been talking about this quite a bit on the channel recently. It does look as though temperatures, both upper and surface temperatures, will be lifting up into the last week of June, and that could carry on into the first week of July as well. No real sign of anything excessively hot. The hottest outliers are up here. 15 Celsius at 858 HPA probably would be enough to get the temperature to 30 degrees, but they are outliers, so I think we're looking at like mid to maybe upper 20 Celsius through the last week of June there. Nothing excessive in terms of heat at the moment. Precipitation-wise, could be quite a lot of dry weather over the next week as well. Do get a bit of precipitation showing up just here around the 22nd of June. But next week looking relatively dry. Into the end of June and the beginning of July, though, we have got more precipitation spikes then. So possibly there's some sort of fungi breakdown going on sometime around the turn of the month, maybe. But of course, that's a long way off. It's extended range and therefore is unreliable. Okay, so temperature anomalies from the 18th, 26th of June. They're coming out around to slightly below average England and Wales, a little bit above average, maybe further northwards. It's not a big deviation either way, though. And precipitation anomalies from the 18th, 26th of June. Most areas dry and average, but the far southeastern corner looking just that little bit wetter through East Anglia and southeastern parts of England. Latest wind map from urbanoldschool.net showed that we're drawing wind in from the north today. We've got a ridge out in the Atlantic, and the low pressure that was with us over the weekend has moved away in towards Scandinavia, leaving us with those northerly breezes. Right, let's start going through chart data then. Let's have the latest UK Met Europe roads looking midnight on Friday. A little bit of a ridge in the south, low pressure out in the Atlantic. Heading through the weekend, things looking rather showery as we're going through the weekend. What's wrong with my mouth? Because the cursor's not updating. So anyway, we go through the weekend looking a bit showery. To the beginning of next week, though, we get a ridge of high pressure then starting to build in from the southwest. So the Azores high gradually starting to settle things down and warm things up through the early part of next week. Icon again showing a little bit of a ridge down the south. Meanwhile, we've got low pressure out to the north and west on Friday. Into the weekend, again, we've got westerly flows, also a little bit showery over the weekend. But then on into next week, high pressure building up from the southwest. We get an extension from the Azores high, so the beginning of next week starts to turn drier and warmer under that area of high pressure. The KMA looking like this again. A little bit westerly over the weekend with showers in the north, but early next week sees a movement from the Azores high, turning things drier and warmer as we go through the weekend. High and dry then into the earliest middle part of next week, becoming much warmer as well as winds pull in to southeast. But we have got this fungi low then starting to meander in later next week. That could bring some heavy showers, maybe some thunderstorms. As we get towards the end of June, increasingly unsettled look to the weather then with low pressure back to the north of Scotland. So the KMA is only a few days of higher pressure through the earlier middle part of next week, then a fungi breakdown later next week, and then we're into rather unsettled conditions for the last week of June. We have got the GFS midnight run, again, all much of a muchness through the weekend, rather westerly showers, particularly in the north and west. Early next week, again, high pressure builds up from the southwest, brings a lot of dry and warm weather in with it through the early part of next week. Temperatures probably rise up into mid-20s Celsius. Later next week, we start to get some lower pressure beginning to develop down to the south. That might start to threaten and herald some thundery downpours into the south. Meanwhile, further north, there should be quite a lot but dry weather then. And then on into the last weekend of June, where we've got a trough of low pressure sitting to the south and the east. That could bring shower conditions through there, maybe some thunder, driest weather likely to be out to the north and to the west. In the extended range with the GFS midnight run, we just keep a shallow trough really sitting over to the east of the country through the first week of July. That's General Election Day, by the way, 4th of July, as far as we get to today with the GFS. And again, looking rather showery under that trough of low pressure. This is how GFS 6 is looking. Again, got me still low, just probably with southeast on Friday. That's probably where the wet anomaly is coming from for East Anglia and southeastern England from that little low there, just affecting the far southeast corner. But over the weekend, that gets out of the way, go a bit showery, and then on Saturday, and then drier on Sunday. Into next week, though, that's when the high pressure really makes its move, bringing lots of dry, fine and warm conditions in with it through the early to middle part of next week. Remember, high pressure sticks around much longer with the GFS 6Z compared to midnight run, so still uncertainty in terms of the weather next week. Will we keep this high pressure going for more than a day or so, or will we break it down quite quickly? Certainly with GFS 6Z, as a high pressure there from Monday right way through to Friday. And that high pressure then just sticking around the country as we go beyond that. So looking really good for Glastonbury. If any Glasgow goers are watching this video, then the CFS V2 looks very good for you. Into early July, the high pressure begins the weekend with a thundery low developing to both the south and the west, bring some downpours, maybe some thunderstorms by July the 4th there. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Make sure everyone's bored doing that. Why not drop a comment and say what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. We thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. GM, again, with low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic on Friday, bringing showery conditions, and most showery conditions lasting into the weekend as well. High pressure ridging up from the southwest for the early part of next week, bringing a lot of dry, fine, and warm or even very warm weather. And then on into the middle and second half of next week, we find high pressure dominates, so all the way up to day 10, the 28th of June, the GM has this large area of high pressure continuing to be well and truly in the ascendancy and dominating the weather. Dry, fine and very warm, possibly quite hot week next week if the gem is correct. And they've got the East Gem looking like this, so once more low pressure coming in. No, sorry, everybody. Low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic as we go through Friday, and then on into weekend. Rather sharp Saturday, and probably dry and fine on Sunday. High pressure builds up from the southwest for the early part of next week, brings loads of dry, fine and warm weather in with it. And then the high pressure sticks around the country up to day 10, but just starts edging out to the west a little bit around days 9 and 10. So by the 28th of June, yes, it's still mostly dry and settled, but we are starting to turn a bit cooler then, with winds coming in from the northwest as the high pressure begins to pull back out in towards the Atlantic. But the main thing is that next week is high and dry with the ECM. Lots of fine conditions to come. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from TibetShow.com. So we continue to see a lot of dry weather over this week in the south, what rain there is, particularly in the north and the northwest. There's that wet weather just flirting with the southeast corner. Most of that with the ECM is on the continent, actually, and we just get a near miss from that. But by the weekend, we've got showery conditions moving in from off the Atlantic. And then beyond that, we turn drier through the early part of next week with any rain, particularly confined to the far north and northwest, all the way up to day 10. These are the options on the table within the ECM Ensemble today for day 10 from the Icelandic Met Office. Gets us to the 28th of June. 18 members of the ECM Ensembles, including the control and the operational run, with high pressure out in the Atlantic, low pressure over Scandinavia, and we'll be bringing the wind in from the northwest with that one. So mostly dry, but a little bit cooler. 15, again, with high pressure right over top of the country, mostly dry and fine. 12 with high pressure between Scotland and Scandinavia, that's remain dry as well. And then a minority option of just 6, much more unsettled with low pressure out in the Atlantic. It looks like high pressure should be dominating at day 10. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got, and it will get us to the 3rd of July. 16 members of the ECM Ensembles, they're more unsettled, trough of low pressure digging in from Scandinavia through the northwest Europe as high pressure pulls out into the Atlantic. That will bring the wind into a cooler northwesterly or northerly. We've got 14, still with some sort of weak ridge around the North Atlantic into west of Europe. We've got 11 with high pressure in the Atlantic, again mostly dry with that, and then we've got 10 with quite deep low pressure across the north and the west of Europe. So each put the 16 here to go with the 10 there, that's 26. It is a majority, therefore, by the beginning of July, early July, in favour of rather unsettled conditions. However, 14 and 11 gets us to 25 with much more way of high pressure. So it's virtually a 50-50 split, really, whether we're under higher pressure or lower pressure by the early phase of July. CFS V2, finally, these are 500 millibar high times, break it down into weekly periods. The first week period takes from the 18th to the 24th of June. The next week looks high and dry, lots of high pressure domination, so should be mostly fine conditions. Week 2 also keeps high pressure going. It's the 25th of June to the 1st of July. Large ridge sitting just to our east. Winds coming up from a warm or maybe a very warm southeasterly direction with that as well. Week 3 keeps the high pressure going. Look at this. It's the 2nd to the 8th of July. So this is quite a prolonged spell of high pressure and warm and dry weather actually, but CFS is going for today. And even into week 4, quite a bit of high pressure. It's the 9th to the 15th of July. High pressure band is in the Atlantic and towards Scandinavia. So once again, should be quite a bit of fine weather. We might get some lower pressure through here, maybe heralding a little bit of a breakdown. But of course, that's a very long way off, 4 weeks away. And but CFS has definitely shifted today towards a much more anticyclonic outlook through the early part of July. But we shall see. Okay, we're done. If you've enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much, everyone, for doing that. Let's like, share a little bit. Drop a comment. Let's know what you think about this and all of our videos and content. And don't forget to friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thanks so much, everyone, for doing that. Okay, so just so what's coming up on our channel tomorrow. Gavs 6 UK weather forecast will be 10 to 14 gale as well. But later on, we've got the latest update for Glasgow. So if you're interested in weather for Glasgow Festival, I have a 4th update coming up for you this evening. For this one, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.